A handful of Cincinnati-based Internal Revenue Service employees have accomplished what no bipartisan White House dinner ever could, uniting the U.S. Congress. Capitol Hill lawmakers are now on a mission to dissect how the tax agency wound up targeting Republican-friendly groups for extra scrutiny. Republican Senate Leader Mitch McConnell called it a travesty, and the chamber's majority leader, Democrat Harry Reid, termed the matter very troubling. Legislation banning such practices was introduced yesterday, and 4 committees put the topic in the House and Senate calendars. The House Ways and Means Committee will hold the first hearing into the subject on May 17. While the top tax collectors at the IRS face grillings in Congress, the ramifications of the outrage are likely to ripple far beyond them. Even as President Barack Obama yesterday labeled the IRS action outrageous, the issue will complicate his ability to press other initiatives, including implementing the health care law, in which the IRS plays an enforcement role, political scientists and strategists from both parties said yesterday. This was dirty, no question, and it will do nothing to improve the tense relationship between the Obama administration and Republican leaders, said Kenneth Warren, a political science professor at St. Louis University in Missouri. Political spending. At the same time, government watchdog groups and tax attorneys expressed concern the revelations would hobble efforts to police money in politics. Outside groups, including nonprofits that don't disclose their donors, pumped about $1 billion into the 2012 federal elections, 3 times as much as they did 4 years earlier, according to the Center for Responsive Politics, based in Washington. The uproar began last week when Lois Lerner, the IRS official in charge of overseeing tax-exempt groups, apologized for the Cincinnati Workers Review and said the agency was wrong to pay special attention to groups promoting limited government. The extra IRS scrutiny was given to organizations seeking tax-exempt status, if they had Tea Party or Patriot in their name, she said. Her disclosure in May 10 came ahead of an Inspector General's report expected to be released this week. Scrutiny sought in the months before last November's election. Democracy 21 and the Campaign Legal Center, 2 Washington-based groups that track political spending, asked the IRS to investigate 4 high-profile nonprofit groups active in the 2012 presidential race: Crossroads Grassroots Policy Strategies and American Action Network, pro-Republican groups, Priorities USA, which worked to help Obama, and Americans Elect, which was supporting an independent candidate for president. These 4 cases and others like them must not be ignored or swept under the rug because of the wrongful actions of the IRS in the case of the conservative groups who were targeted. Democracy 21 President Fred Wertheimer said in a statement yesterday. Rather than scrutinizing the biggest players in last year's election, at least some of the IRS letters were aimed at state-based, anti-tax Tea Party groups. Tom Zolotowski, the former president of an Ohio Tea Party group who was among the first to publicize the IRS's demands last year, said it was distracting and demoralizing for Tea Party groups like his. IRS questions his Ohio Liberty Council Corporation, later renamed the Ohio Liberty Coalition, was founded to coordinate Tea Party activities in one of the hardest-fought states in the presidential election. The group applied in 2010 to be a tax-exempt social welfare group. After months of silence, the IRS wrote to the group on January 26, 2012, with dozens of questions. Among the requests, the IRS wanted a narrative description of every activity the organization had taken part in during the past 2 years. The agency also wanted hard copy printouts of every social media site, including Facebook FB, curated by the group. It wanted to know the names and credentials of instructors of past and planned events. Most of these questions had nothing to do with our tax status, Zolotowski said. It was beyond maddening. It didn't feel right at all. He publicized his communications with the IRS in websites including Fedlays.com, founded by conservative radio talk